Let's move to other stories. The Nigerian government says more than 4.3 trillion naira worth of crude oil was stolen in 7,143 pipeline vandalism cases within a period of 5 years. It disclosed this at the Nigerian International Pipeline Technology and Security Conference holding in Abuja, organized by the Pipeline Professionals Association of Nigeria. It had the theme Bolstering Regulations, Technology and Security for Growth. Now, in a presentation by the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, a federal government agency, the organization revealed that oil theft and losses in Nigeria had become a national emergency. NEITI's Secretary, or Executive Secretary Ogbonnaya Orji, said that oil theft was an emergency that posed serious threat to oil exploration and exploitation, with huge negative consequences on the economy of Nigeria and also the earnings, profit earnings by oil companies. Suraj Oyewole, an oil and gas expert, is with us now to look at this interesting revelation. Suraj, thank you very much for your time. The Nigerian government has revealed, like you just said, more than 4.3 trillion worth of crude oil lost in a large amount of pipeline vandalism cases, 7,143, and this within a space of 5 years. Now, this is a startling figure, I'm sure you'll agree, and this comes despite the huge investment that the federal government of Nigeria has made in securing the nation's crude oil pipelines. Why do you think that this theft has persisted over the years despite this investment?
Yeah, thanks very much, Kofi, and good evening. I would say this has persisted because of insincerity among the people who are meant to fight this. Let's not forget about the fact that there is a grand conspiracy, a grand collaboration among people who are meant to be the protection system around these pipelines and all the oil infrastructure. So we have a situation in which people staff of oil companies, the security forces, community leaders, community people, virtually everyone in the value chain is, because of the huge amount of money they are making from this, is involved in this. So, and of course, they have international collaborators as well. Anyway, they have some international collaborators that also across the, not just the West African coast, but also outside the shores of Africa, who buy these things, who buy some of these things, and of course some of them are also refined locally. So I would say, of course, the principal cause is greed, because everybody. I will not say poverty, because sometimes people doing this are not poor. There are people that can finance a huge, capital outlay to do this kind of thing. So it's just a conspiracy, some sort of collaboration among all the people involved that have made this to persist. Despite the investment, in stopping this in the past few years.
Quite interesting. As we had the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative labeled this situation national emergency. Do you think this has been given the urgency it deserves? Because it can be labeled economic sabotage. And if not, why hasn't this situation been given the urgency it deserves? The government agency calling it a national emergency.
Yeah, NEITI can call it national emergency because in NEITI see this figure. They see the figure. They are in charge of all the data. Of the numbers that relate to the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. So, they must have seen the numbers for them to shout, and call this some form of, some that requires some sort of national emergency. I agree with them. In fact, if there's anything more than that, I think that's what applies. Don't let us forget the fact that sometime last year, Mr. Tony Lumelu, a Nigerian, a big investor in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria, cried foul about about the losses from these activities. So government made some noise. The government made some things, and they've done some things, and we've had a situation. Just last month, the contract with Mr. Tom Polo's company, was renewed by the government, the current government, exactly. So, I would say all of these activities, are being put in place by the government, but ultimately it still boils down to the fact that the people behind this are so powerful that it just it's just some. I mean, they are so powerful that it's been very difficult for government to get to the bottom of this. But hopefully, in the next couple of years, or maybe earlier, and maybe things could get better. If the current government adopts a new strategy.
Interesting. Nigeria spent a staggering 471.493 billion naira to either repair or to maintain damaged pipelines. A lot of money. And you will agree that these figures underscore the immense financial burden that oil theft places on the country's resources, its financial resources, apart from what the country is losing by not being able to meet its OPEC quota. What are the consequences of this on the economy of Nigeria, particularly the nation's budget?
Okay, I mean, as someone that has worked in the oil and gas industry for 15 years, I would say that, and someone that has related with NEITI, I mean, I would want to believe that that number came not just from the government spend, but also from the spend of private oil and gas companies, both indigenous as well as international oil and gas companies, in fixing some of the damages that were done by all these saboteurs. So I mean, with respect to budget, I mean, I don't think that's some, $500 billion naira, spent by government and private operators in the industry. Might not be something that is, that is the most, that is something we should lose sleep over. But I mean, that's still some big numbers as well. I mean, that's some big numbers as well. But I would prefer to see it more from this spend from the by the private, companies, oil and gas companies, because these are guys that have come to Nigeria to invest. I mean, they brought the foreign investment to Nigeria, and of course, there's some internal investors as well. What that means is that extra cost of doing business for them, and that makes it. Don't let us forget the fact that international capital, doesn't care about country; it cares about where it is going to get the best return. So what that means is that many of these investors will start to rethink their investment in Nigeria, because some of these huge costs of pipeline repairs are not things they experience in some of the other countries competing for investment in Nigeria. I mean, so what that means, what that could mean is that some drop in investment in Nigeria, I mean, into Nigerian and gas sector. And of course, on the government angle, every kobo that is government spent on repair is something that could have been used for a better use. So from the government angle, it's still a very, very bad situation. But, I would think that, looking at it from the international investment or local investment angle, I think that's where we have the worst situation.
Suraj, well, it's very interesting having you and with your insight to these issues. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Kofi.